Alright Habibis, here's the deal. I have a bunch of pieces of lost media from my childhood that I've been attempting to track down for the past few years. I thought I was going to make this into an episodic thing where I'd highlight a piece of media, give a little backstory, and document my effort to unearth it. As the years go by though, it's becoming less likely that I will be able to source these on my own. However, I still want these to be found, and that's why I'm offering a $20 bounty to anyone who finds any one of these pieces of media to my specifications. We have a team of researchers looking into this at the Investigations channel on the SPV Laboratories Discord server. You will join the effort. Some of these pieces are more on the tip of my tongue end of the lost media spectrum, and I'm expecting to make payouts on these. Others are probably lost forever and are just here for documentation. Regardless, each of these items are personally significant in some way, and I hope you find the stories behind them intriguing. I organized this list from most likely to be found to least likely. Back in 2014 or 2015, there was this Campbell soup commercial airing around the holidays that featured an African-American family eating a holiday meal. I believe the ad was for green bean casserole, but I could be wrong. There was no music in the commercial, just this family bantering about the Winter Olympics of all things. If I'm remembering right, I believe the adults are arguing about an event they saw on TV, and the punchline of this argument was that the event was curling. And here is the reason why I need to find this commercial. It's this fucking kid. Because when the punchline hits, this kid loses his shit. This Rajon Rondo looking turtle boy sticks his neck out of his shell and lets out such an unhealthily guttural laugh while he struggles for air. Here, I'll imitate it. And yes, this is the actual kid. I took a screenshot of the commercial at one point because he lived rent-free in my head for years. Anyways, this commercial was an absolute diamond in the rough. Whenever I would stream shows with ads, I would pray to be blessed with this one because this Kermit kid and his laugh never failed to make me smile. I at least have a screenshot of it, so I imagine it's out there somewhere. Back in the day when you would download iTunes, it would come packaged with a few free songs. I think in the summer or fall of 2004, I downloaded iTunes 4, the one with the green icon, and it came bundled with a few free songs. One of these was a Snow Patrol song or some similar low-tempo indie pop rock, but the one I'm interested in recovering was the 6-minute techno song. I cannot remember the name of the song or how it goes, and unfortunately the last sighting I've had of this song was on my old golden iPod mini that died after the Gatorade incident. I've tried downloading old versions of iTunes to find this techno banger, but it no longer populates with free songs. Real talk, the song wasn't that good from what I remember, but it just bothers me that I have no record of it existing. So if you can help me find the right group of bundled songs, I'll give you $20. The inauguration of Donald Trump was an infamous day in American politics that, despite the disastrous subtext, was a glorious day for memes. I was at the gym at the time, and after my workout, I watched coverage from ABC, not ABC News. The 8.5-hour video on YouTube from ABC News was not what I saw that day. I'm pretty sure I saw the broadcast from ABC with live commentary from George Stephanopoulos and others. I started watching around the time that the Missouri State University Chorale gave their performance, and I left the gym shortly after Trump gave his address. Now, the reason I am interested in this footage is because of these things, the bulletproof glass panels. You see, at one point during the broadcast, when Mike Pence was sitting down, this specific camera angle showed Pence's face behind the glass, and it warped his face to the point that he looked like a fucking alien. Like this was Snapchat filter levels of goofy. I saw this and immediately thought it would be perfect for one of those if you only knew how bad things really are memes. However, I got home and was never able to find the footage or any camera angles from other broadcasts that warped Pence's face the way ABC's broadcast did. These days, the market for a 5-year-old Mike Pence meme is probably absent, but bro, I'm telling you, Pence's face looks so fucking weird. I need to find that shot. When I was a sophomore in high school, I took a digital media class where we were supposed to learn basic Photoshop and video editing. However, this was also the first time many of us had access to MacBooks in school, so instead of focusing on coursework, we were competitively speedrunning Marble Blast ILs. In any case, for the last assignment of the class, we had to make a video project with a partner, and my partner was this guy who I'll call Jeff. Jeff was a senior and a captain of the soccer team that we played on together. He was very talented. Jeff was also a massive stoner who would habitually show up to class baked out of his fucking mind, which was hilarious in retrospect because me being the straight edge neocon wannabe in all honors courses paired with Spicoli Incarnate ended up being extremely valuable for my personal development. It was the first time I saw anyone high. He taught me about drug prices, proper blunt etiquette. Jeff could have brushed me off as a stuck-up little nerd, but instead showed me respect, and in doing so taught me a valuable life lesson. Something about not judging a book by its cover, fuck if I know. In any case, we worked on this video project together, which amounted to making a highlight reel for our soccer team. I found the file on a random DVD the other day, and it was hilarious. The only clips Jeff put in were literal bloopers where someone would get knocked on their ass. So why is this story beating up in a lost media context? Well, this dude Jeff, being the wacky tobacco aficionado he was, refused to listen to any music other than reggae, and so his portions of the video exclusively featured reggae. Now, like I said, me at the time having the cultural taste of like a Rick Santorum, Jeff's music was not anywhere near my sphere of interest. However, there was one song that was just so abrasive and flagrant that it stuck with me for 15 years, and that was this reggae remix of T.I.'s What You Know.
This split second one. Access lines up, and we are ready to go. On my turn. Hey, yo, me tell them, say them can't pull me down. Oh yes, I'm moving on, and I'm staying strong, and I will survive. None of them can take me life. That's why me tell them, say them can't.
I have tried for over a decade to find who made this track. None of the lyric searches came back with anything, and after so long, it seems unlikely I will ever find it with my current toolset. Jeff ended up playing in a local band with another kid at our school who got taken out of class in an ambulance after he had a panic attack while on triple C's. The band has been inactive since 2018, and Jeff has no social media footprint, so I can't ask him about it. My only hope is that someone watching this recognizes the voice or understands the patois better than I do. The track was released sometime before 2008 if that helps. Full 2-minute samples posted on the Discord. Back in the day when my extended family would get together at my grandparents' house, the move was to go to my grandpa's room, boot up his Windows 95 computer, and play the demo games he had on the hard drive. There's some certified heaters on that folder too. Worms Armageddon, Roll Cage, Lemmings, Rayman 2, Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, and an obscure snowboarding game called Border Zone, also known as Supreme Snowboarding. The graphics and gameplay were actually pretty slick. There was a racing mode that was really challenging and a tricking mode where it took me and my cousins over a year to figure out that you needed to press control to charge up a trick. The game, despite being underappreciated, is well documented online. What this entry is about is a bizarre glitch that I encountered in the game. At the beginning of a session, you have the option to name your character. I always gave my character silly names, but one day I decided to name him Fabio. You know, this guy. But the weirdest shit, when I typed this name, a sheep sound effect would play upon entering the last O. Literally, it was like... I did this multiple times to make sure, and then tried it with other variations of the name. None seemed to activate this effect. I downloaded the full version of the game recently to try it, but it didn't work. Perhaps it was only on the demo version. Perhaps it was an elaborate prank for my cousins that me being 10 years old, I was too young and imperceptive to realize. But I'm pretty fucking sure that I typed Fabio into the computer on the Border Zone character select, and out of the computer speakers came a fucking sheep noise. If you can reproduce this with proof, I'll give you $20. On October 8th, 2014, a user of 4chan's music board began a Bandcamp thread with a link to the page of Lucas Morris. The link led to a track called The Elevator Tree from his new Vaporwave album, Myst, based on the 1993 point-and-click adventure game of the same name. The album went ignored as other users posted their own works. In the following days, Lucas posted his album several more times, including starting a few Vaporwave generals. Opinions on his release were mixed. Some felt that the album was quite relaxing, others sneered at the derivative album art and lumped it in with the ever-growing Vaporwave landfill. Although 4chan is an anonymous image board, there were more than a few posts that one may easily deduce as viraling attempts from Lucas. Viraling being the act of posting your own work while pretending to be someone else in an effort to lend yourself credibility. This all came to a head on October 13th in a Vaporwave thread where a user lambasted self-promoters as killing the scene and dialogue on the threads. Rather than comply with this sentiment, Lucas instead made even more brazen attempts to viral his album. And I mean, you could tell, right? Like the constant phrasing of enjoying the relaxing tracks or that the quality picks up after the intro, I'm betting that's coming from him. or the rapid sequence of posts that were called out by another user. I mean, it takes one to know one, right? But no, seriously, this is pretty transparent. Now, here's where the story takes a turn. On October 21st, a user, potentially Lucas, posted a thread asking what happened to the Myst album as it was no longer available. There were no replies. The next day, a user identifying themselves as Luke Morris posted the following thread.
I made an album called Myst. Apparently people on here liked it a little. I posted it twice. Apparently people kept shitposting it and then people messaged me on my Bandcamp giving me threats. I just wanted to let you all know I took it off and sorry if it took up too many threads. Bye guys.
Now, while Lucas's claim that he only posted the album twice is farcical, I wouldn't be surprised if someone sent him hate on his Bandcamp. But I guess I would be equally unsurprised if he made that up too, because it certainly didn't deter him from viraling his now deleted Myst album. For example, on this post with a peculiar capitalization of echo jams that only he used. What followed was a frenzy of posts over the next 2 weeks inquiring about the album, most probably from Lucas himself, but some I'm sure from genuine anonymous posters. Even the famous self-promoter Timid Orpheus had some choice words about Lucas. Unfortunately, the album was not recovered, and users who had supposedly downloaded it decided it was not worth their time to re-upload. During this time, Lucas returned in earnest to make some concerning posts about struggling to fit in with the Anons.
I am a sad person with no musical talent and was enjoying making this music. Oh well, I will never post Myst again if that really is the case that I am coming off sad. Not because of the copyright reason threatening me, but because I thought that people might actually care about me on here. I will never post under Luke Morris again. I had fun being one of you though for a little while.
His last post under his name was on November 5th, where he promised to go away forever. After that, the Myst album was only brought up twice more, once on November 18th in an Ocean Grunge thread, and once more 7 months later on June 29th, 2015. After Lucas left, so too did the post begging for his album to reappear. So that's the story of Lucas Morris and his lost Myst album. I'm fascinated by this object for so many reasons, a minor one being that he had more success promoting his album as a piece of lost media rather than as a genuine album. But to me, Myst is like the pinnacle of Vaporwave. I have a whole script in the works about the Vaporwave movement, but I'll summarize my thoughts here. You see, in 2014, we were in, let's say, the third wave of Vaporwave. If you consider the first wave from like Midnight Television to Floral Shop, and then the second wave up to around Blank Banshee 1. This was the point in the Vapor movement where the success and infamy of Floral Shop and the other canonized albums inspired hordes of netizens to make their own artistically bankrupt replicas and spam them all over the internet with the hopes of being the next Metroid or Internet Club. This diluted the quality of the entire genre, and that quality was already called into question in the first place due to the minimal sample treatment in this asshole.
I'm actually feeling a decent to strong 4.
People don't talk enough about how utterly dysfunctional the Vaporwave scene was during the era of Vaporwave, to the point where if not for a few popular releases, Vaporwave as a genre of music could easily have collapsed in on itself by the mid-2010s. And like I said, this Myst album is the purest representation of the Vaporwave catastrophe, an album self-promoted into oblivion, drawing ire and manufactured fascination, both birthed and destroyed by a socially inept anonymous poster. But while most people at the time viewed the plague of Vaporwave with contempt, I think it's really fucking cool. I mean, think about it. Those founding documents of Vaporwave, like Echo Jams and Floral Shop, were so culturally poignant that they galvanized thousands of people to engage with a new artistic movement. Many of these people probably never made music in their lives. That's special. You know what's funny though? I have no illusions that somebody could easily just shard a bunch of slow down city pop and pass it off as Myst, and I'd have no way of knowing. In fact, it's entirely likely that no one other than Lucas even heard his own album. I mean, I'll do my best to verify, but still, that in itself is a statement on how disposable these Vaporwave releases were. Whatever, man, I'd finance a Myst recreation at this point, I don't give a shit. If you remember watching Michael Phelps swimming back in the day, you'll know that they would always go into the crowd and show his mom, Deborah. Debbie was an extremely expressive woman who would, to put it bluntly, freak the fuck out every time her son was in the water. But to be fair, she had a lot to freak out about. Anyways, at the 2012 US Olympic trials, a friend of mine sat behind Debbie and had a hilarious reaction to Michael's performance that was caught on TV. I never met this person, but it was described to me that he had a very distinct voice, and in the clip you could see him mouthing the words, "Go, Michael, go!" Despite obviously being drowned out by the stadium, it was clear as day how he probably sounded. You may not have caught this behind Debbie having a stroke, but this friend and I saw it and had a good laugh. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find the clip since. I can't remember what event it was. I mean, Michael swims at a million events during these meets, but I'm fairly certain it was at the 2012 trials and it wasn't 200 IM finals. I checked that one. If you can point me to any video that leads me to finding the crowd shot I'm looking for, the $20 is yours, and also my friend pledged 20 as well for a total of $40. He really wants someone to find this. This is Hubert Vogelsinger, a former professional footballer from Vienna and a pioneer in player development, putting together some of the first soccer camps in the United States. Hubert's infectious enthusiasm for the game and for coaching guided him to expand these camps into a personal brand, the Vogelsinger Soccer Academy. Vogelsinger soccer camps still run today all over the country, although Hubert is 84 years old now, so he's not in the field with his players. Anyways, in 1991, Hubert worked with a production company to create a series of 5 instructional VHS tapes: soccer aerobics, kicking, dribbling and feinting, ball control, and super skills and heading. These tapes feature Hubert giving instruction to his campers in a heavy Austrian accent, his passion boiling over into some hilarious moments of madness.
It has to hurt in the hip. You have to feel it. You're still doing the All-American disaster, my friend. You're still doing the All-American disaster. When are you going to get this in here? It's a clear indication. There. That's it. No way. Look at it. There. The leg has to come in like this. Has to from here. No. No, from here. Straight back. Straight back.
The tapes themselves aren't lost. In fact, I have most of them at home. What I am interested in finding is the music, because holy shit, these tunes are big.
No choice. Perfect.
As you work out, think of yourself as a computer. Repeated drills establish your personal computer's guidance system, like a missile's, until you automatically make the right move with the ball.
They sound like a live band with synthesizers playing cover versions of songs that would be appropriate on Sega Genesis. It's like the perfect 90s VHS instructional library music. There's one song in particular in the kicking VHS tape that I want to know more about. It's this one.
Not easy. Get a soft touch. Ah. Low. Average. High.
I don't know what it is, but this song fucking bops. I recorded a cover of it on my Radiotheque album to pay homage. Because this is just a random song in an instructional VHS tape, you might imagine that unearthing information about the artist will be difficult, but I have some leads. The Videocoach Vogelsinger series was produced by a company that goes by Westcom Video or Westcom Production Inc. or West One Video Inc. They used to be located in Eugene, Oregon. According to WorldCat, this company has produced many VHS tapes related to sports, like a few golf videos, Converse basketball tips, an ESPN video, and even a video about ocean pollution, which was referenced in an NOAA report. My hope is that Westcom used the same music library across several videos, and that these other tapes may give clues about the artists. Without doxing anyone, I have a few people that I plan on reaching out to with this video that may have some connections to the music in the Vogelsinger tapes. I'll post updates about my research in the Discord server, but as always, $20 if you beat me to the punch. The mobile game ecosystem pre-iOS was a fucking free-for-all and a nightmare for modern preservation. Moreover, these games had a near infinitesimal shelf life since cellular technology turnover was so rapid. So unlike the modern App Store, which has some search functionality, many of these old mobile games live on only as scattered memories or rarely to be documented by their creators, for example in this video by Gustav Steckman. One of these old mobile games that I feel should be preserved was a bootleg version of Super Monkey Ball. Now, I have looked everywhere trying to find this. I DM'd Nick Robinson, I watched Pixel Pursuit series on the obscure Super Monkey Ball games, and no, it's not this game referenced in the Sega Retro Wiki. I get the feeling that this could have been an unlicensed game not approved for distribution by Sega. Here is the information I can give you. I bought the game on an old Samsung phone on the T-Mobile network probably around 2004 or 2005. Based on the models available on GSM Arena, I think the phone was an X100. The game itself was a top-down platformer, if you could call it that. The graphics were like a super pixelated Kirby Tilt and Tumble, but the monkey was tiny. The controls were much tighter than typical Monkey Ball entries, making the difficulty almost trivial. I think there were only 10 levels too. Given the kind of recent bloom and popularity of the Super Monkey Ball series, it would be a shame for this piece of history to go undocumented. Okay, holy shit. So I made a bunch of these entries, not just the 10 that you're going to see in this video. There was actually some quality control involved in this. Some of the entries, I did a little digging before I was going to release the video and ended up finding some of the pieces of media. One of them is on my channel. That's the Leprechaun Techno from Ebon's World. There's another one I was going to put in that was like a dubstep remix of Rebecca Black's Friday that I found. I was initially just not going to mention anything that I found before the release of this video, but I just finished editing this entry, right? And I went to look online to see if I could find any more clues about this game. And it turns out that literally 5 days ago, this dude Kardino published a video that was like the culmination of a 1.5 year long search for these fucking mobile games. The exact Super Monkey Ball mobile games that I was just talking about in this entry. And so I won't spoil his narration. You should definitely go check it out. He did an amazing job. But it turns out that the game I was talking about was called Sega Monkey Ball, and it was on J2ME, which was a Java platform that was used for mobile games back in the day. And so looking at some of the gameplay footage, it's like, I remember all of this. Even though we have this footage, this is actually footage from the demo game that was 5 levels. And I think this is probably all I played. I don't know if I played the full version. The full version was 15 levels, and because of the way that mobile games worked back in the day, it was like a $5 monthly subscription to play this game. So all the online sources to play this game are gone now, so the last 10 levels might be lost forever. Seeing this after not having seen any of these screens or gameplay in literally 15 years, this is surreal. This almost feels like a sign. This is it. This is the white whale of my personal lost media wish list. Back in middle school, we took foreign language class for the first time in 8th grade. The culminating project of our class was to do a comprehensive report on another country of our choosing. For this, I chose the African country Mali. We had to write a paper, give a class presentation, make travel pamphlets, and present one of those trifold posters at International Day. We also had to pair up for this, and unlike the project I talked about earlier where I was with Jeff the White Rasta, this time I partnered with someone who went on to research machine learning at Harvard. So our Mali project was a real brainiac operation. Somehow though, we missed we were supposed to advertise our country as a travel destination, so our teacher was miffed after our presentation where we talked about malaria, kidnappings, and domestic terrorism. To be fair though, it's kind of difficult to spin a max level 4 travel advisory into an endorsement. Anyways, part of our research was on cultural aspects of our chosen nation, and what was suggested to us for the poster display was to bring speakers to play music from our country. Now, at this point in 2006, iPods and digital music downloads are becoming increasingly prevalent, so the possibility of finding music from a specific African nation is much more likely than it probably would have been even 5 years prior. However, the iTunes store had a notoriously limited selection, so I opted instead to just Google Mali plus rap, probably with that exact query. And this guy came up. This is Amkoullel, a hip-hop artist from Mali who blends politically conscious lyrics with discernibly West African influenced beats. He's been making music for several decades and has been an outspoken advocate of his home country. If you look up interviews with him, you'll see him speaking out against Islamic occupation of the North in 2013 or fighting against censorship. Basically, Amkoullel is a real one. But as this geopolitical freedom fighting related to me as a white suburban 13-year-old with a school project, I needed to find a way to get one of Amkoullel's songs on my iPod. And since he wasn't on iTunes, I bought one of his MP3s on some sketchy site linked to his MySpace. The song that I bought was Je Suis (intro). What I remember was this song being around 2.5 minutes, each line beginning with Je suis, followed by French rapping, and like a synthetic violin-driven beat that wouldn't have sounded out of place as like a 50-cent beat. Now fortunately, I do have a lot more to go off of. This website, mali-music.com, has a track-by-track breakdown of his first 3 albums, and you can see that Je suis is the opening track of his album,
Une faculté,
where he has this to say about the song.
I Am, the song an introduction to my album, but also a way to introduce myself by using the different styles. I'm making my way of rapping in my flow in the different languages. I use French and Bomboro. It shows also my personality, which is based on liberty of thinking, identity I am. I don't follow anybody.
Unfortunately, this is where the trail goes cold. I emailed everyone listed on this page to no response. The link to purchase the song at amkoullel.calabashmusic.com is dead, and none of Amkoullel's other pages like his MySpace, Insta, or Facebook reference this album. In fact, a few years ago, I did manage to get in touch with Amkoullel's agent, who told me that the song just didn't exist, which I have to imagine is just an oversight on their part. Amkoullel hasn't been active on social media basically since a podcast he did in 2018, but there are references to him being back in Mali as recently as 2021, which is significant for a guy who performed all over the world. If you put that Calabash Music link in the Wayback Machine, there are snapshots from 2009 that redirect to mp3.mondomix/Amkoullel, also a dead site. It's just bizarre that Amkoullel was, in the mid-2000s, the first Google search result for music in his country. He has an extensive record of talking to the press about his career and his politics, is frequently cited as an influential figure in African hip-hop, and yet there's like no digital footprint of his debut album, except for this text from a random website, mali-music.com. Or maybe the lesson is just that American music communities poorly document music coming out of other countries. So anyways, that's that. If you or anyone you know has connections to the African hip-hop world, would love to hear your input, and as always, $20 if you could source this track or the album. Alright, that's the list. Some of these pieces of media are hopelessly obscure, living on only as memories in my head and probably no one else's. But I hope that by providing meager cash incentives and compelling narratives, these works can once again see the light of day. If you like the video, feel free to join the Investigations channel on the Discord server. Also, I have about 50 more items I'd be willing to throw money towards their excavation, so if you want money or like this content, I'll make another one. Bye.